Welcome into Steelers Talk. I'm your host, Jack Sperry. Today we have a ton to cover on today's edition of Steelers News and Rumors. First up, we're going to be talking about what I think people get wrong about the dynamic between quarterback Aaron Rodgers and offensive coordinator Arthur Smith all the time. Then we'll get into why I think the Heyward and Chris Boswell contract situations is not a big deal. And then we'll finish up today's show with me reacting to some Steelers players making some very bold claims about the Pittsburgh Steelers defense heading into the 2025 season. So before we go into the content today, make sure you guys click that subscribe button because we give you guys daily Steelers videos all throughout the season with injury reports, weekly game previews, breaking news coverage, especially leading up to that trade deadline where the Steelers could be active this year. Then, of course, weekly live shows. We go live at least twice during the week, and then we go live for every single Steelers game. It's all 100% free, guys. So if you want the most interactive and extensive fan experience anywhere on YouTube, for a Pittsburgh Steelers fan, make sure you guys click that subscribe button right now and help us get to 90,000 subscribers. All right, so I want to start today's video today, guys, with something and kind of a narrative that surrounds the dynamic between new quarterback Aaron Rodgers and offensive coordinator Arthur Smith. People kind of view it as like it's adversarial. Like, who's going to cave to who? Is it going to be Rodgers' offense or Arthur Smith's offense? And I think what people don't understand is that it is a complete collaboration between these two, all right? Aaron Rodgers decided to come to the Pittsburgh Steelers in part because he respects Arthur Smith as an offensive mind and likes the offensive scheme that he traditionally runs, but he also has certain things that he likes and he wants in his offense that Art is going to put in there, right? So it's a complete collaboration. People keep talking about, is Rodgers going to take over Arthur Smith's offense and only run his offense? And that's just not the way that it works. Aaron Rodgers actually talked about the offensive collaboration this week, and I thought he provided some excellent insight here. This is what QB1 had to say. Art is not a rigid guy at all. Any ideas I have or the receivers have, he really appreciates it. We've installed stuff I've looked at or other guys have had similar ideas. I've had an open forum in my room. Anytime you want to come in and suggest something, let me know and I'll take it right to Art. I think it's an important part of it. There's no dictatorship here. We want to talk about the issues, whether it's in a text message or coming into my room. I don't want anything to be left unsaid. It's been a good process for us. Art has been good enough to take some time in the meetings, to let me go through the film with the guys. As parents, sometimes you tell your kids a bunch of stuff and they only get it when someone else says it. I say this all the time. The position coaches tell them the right things, but it might not be until they hear it from me that it kicks in. It's good for me to speak up from time to time. So listen, man, I think Aaron Rodgers is exactly the type of quarterback that this offense needs. He is the type of guy that is going to be on his P's and Q's, and he's going to make sure everybody else is doing their job and holds people accountable to do the things that they need to do on the football field. And also, Arthur Smith has tailored the offense specifically for Aaron Rodgers, all right? This is something that Peter Schrager has talked about as well, where, when they were kind of waiting on Rodgers to officially sign his contract, Arthur Smith had a plan for Aaron Rodgers specifically that includes giving him multiple options at the line of scrimmage so that he can take advantage of his excellent pre-snap processing. This is what Arthur Smith had to say about the offense this year. It's about packaging plays and things you can do pre-snap and building multiple options because you don't want to just run into bad looks or have a cover 4 beater and they're playing man or single high zone. We've got alerts and cans and checks, and so we've always done that. You're talking about a guy in Rodgers who's got 20 plus years of experience and been in multiple systems. He's involved in his career. A lot of things we were doing fit his skill set. So listen, man, I think Aaron is the perfect fit for this kind of quote-unquote multiple style of offense where you have all these cans and checks and there's multiple plays in the huddle. Sometimes there's 3 plays in the huddle. Rodgers is not only incredibly intelligent with amazing recall, but he also has over 20 years of football experience in the National Football League, and he has seen every single coverage you could possibly see as an NFL quarterback, right? So he is somebody that's going to be able to go to the line of scrimmage. He's going to be able to see that picture of what the defense has given him and then get to the right play. And, Arthur Smith trusts him to be able to have that control at the line of scrimmage to get them into that right play. And that's going to only make this Steelers passing offense even more dangerous. And it's going to allow Rodgers to really be the sheriff here in Pittsburgh. So where are you guys at? Let me know down there in the comment section. What is your confidence level in Aaron Rodgers at this point in time? On a scale of 1, meaning no confidence at all, he's going to suck, to 10 being he's going to be awesome, he's going to be a top 10 quarterback this year. Let me know what you guys think down there in the comment section. In just a second here, I'm going to let you guys know about a great deal you guys can take advantage of today. But while I'm talking about that opportunity for you guys, go down there in the comment section for today's pinned question and let me know your confidence level in QB1. And speaking of Aaron Rodgers, you guys can get his Steelers jersey today when you use our link down below in the comments and description of today's show, chatsports.com/AR8. I think that this is going to be a very fun season, guys. And if you want to be repping 8Ball's number this year, you can go chatsports.com/AR8. You guys can get a great deal on that jersey as well when you use our link. So make sure you use that link down there in the comments and description of today's show to get your Aaron Rodgers jersey in your closet before the season. So now shifting our focus here to the new contract disputes that the Pittsburgh Steelers are currently going through right now with defensive tackle Cameron Heyward and then, of course, the kicker Chris Boswell. And there's a lot of people on Steelers Twitter right now that are saying, oh, Cam Heyward, why don't you just play on your deal? Why did you accept the contract last year if you weren't going to play on it the next year? All that different stuff. And listen, guys, I don't think this is a big deal at all right? I think that people are overreacting big time on Steelers social media about this. Cam Heyward is there at camp. He is participating in meetings. He is participating in walkthroughs most of the time. He's not practicing in the team periods during Steelers practices because he doesn't want to risk getting injured before getting the payday that he feels like he's deserving of. But he's somebody that's present. Chris Boswell's there that is present right now. This is not something that is disrupting or is a huge distraction for the Steelers locker room at large. And frankly, I think that this is a more than workable deal for both of these guys for the Pittsburgh Steelers. Right now, Pittsburgh has a projected $35.9 million in cap space heading into this season, according to Spotrac. Of course, that's after all the different deals that they did with T.J. Watt, lowering the cap or raising the cap number this year after that deal. Of course, they added cap room with the Jalen Ramsey trade, even though they added another player. So this team has a lot of cap space, and Cam Heyward's sitting there, and he's saying, hold on, wait a minute here, guys. I was a first-team All-Pro player last year, and we have almost $36 million available in cap space this year, and we're not planning on adding any more big contract kind of guys. All right, so we have the cap space to give me a pay raise here, and I think that that's more than reasonable from Cam Heyward here, guys, and I think that both guys are deserving of a raise. Not just Cam Heyward, who was a first-team All-Pro player last year, but also Chris Boswell, who was probably the best kicker in football last year. Right now, his annual earnings is just 11th among kickers. I can certainly see why Boswell wants to get paid like the number one kicker in the league, because at this point, that's what he is. And honestly, guys, when it comes to a guy like Cam Heyward, we saw last year he didn't participate a whole lot in Steelers training camp practices because, obviously he was dealing with his contract dispute last year before the season. But then he comes out and he is fully prepared to go. He's an all-pro caliber player. And frankly, at his age, in how much experience he has in the Steelers defense, he doesn't need a ton of team reps during training camp. Him kind of sitting out these team periods and kind of saving his energy for the season can kind of be seen as a blessing in disguise for somebody that's as old as Cam Heyward is. Not saying he's like old in like real years, but old in football years. You guys know what I'm saying there. But, it saves some of that juice for the season for him. So honestly, I don't really mind that he's sitting out team periods at training camp at this point in time. And in the end, guys, I do think both of these deals are going to be handled, right? The Steelers have the cap space to make this work, obviously. And both players are at training camp. They obviously expect to be with the Steelers this year. It's not like a Terry McLaurin situation or a Micah Parsons situation or anything like that. It's pretty non-adversarial at this point in time, guys. So these deals are going to get done, and I don't think it's going to be as expensive as some people might think. But just to warn you guys, the way that they're probably going to address Cam Heyward's situation this year is they're going to move some of that money in the roster bonus that he has coming up next offseason and converting that into a signing bonus. So that means that next offseason, if he's deciding to come back to play for another year, he's going to have to get a new restructured deal once again. So, unfortunately, if you're tired of the Cam Heyward contract disputes, if he comes back next year, you're probably going to have to deal with it again next offseason. But before we get into our final segment on today's show here, guys, make sure you guys click that thumbs up icon. If you love Cam Heyward and Chris Boswell, they're two of some of the best players on this entire roster. I know I love these guys. They're going to be here for this season. You don't have to worry about that. And if you love these two, click that thumbs up icon to support the show. All right, so now we'll get into the final segment here. Kind of a fun one here because Steelers players at camp are making some very bold claims about the Steelers defense this year. Juan Thornhill, the starting free safety, said this week that he thinks this defense could be the best in NFL history. All right, that is a very bold claim from somebody that is brand new to the Steelers defense. This is what Thornhill had to say about his new squad. I think it could be one of the best of all time, and I'm putting that in the air right now. One of the best of all time. Literally, we've got pieces everywhere. Look at the roster. Look at who we are. It's incredible. Literally, I don't feel like there's a weakness on the defense. If you look at most teams, you know you've got the fish out there. The one or two people where it's like, I'm not sure. But with us, we've got a front that's unbelievable, linebackers that's great, and DBs that can cover anyone. You've got guys up front, then we've got guys at the corner spot that can cover guys as well. That forces the quarterback to throw the ball to the middle of the field a lot more, which allows me to make more plays on the football. So very, very bold claim there from Juan Thornhill, but he wasn't alone, all right? On the other side of the ball, DK Metcalf, who goes up against that defense every single day in practice, says that it is the best he's ever seen in the National Football League to this point in his career. This is what Metcalf had to say to NFL Network this week. Man, you don't want my opinion on the defense because I think they are the best defense I've ever seen. There's some dogs on the field, and I tip my hat to them because they come to work every day. The offense doesn't have any choice but to get better every day. So listen, guys, these are bold claims, obviously, to say that this defense could be the best in NFL history and the best that DK Metcalf has ever seen. Like, those are some really, really, high goals to set for this defense. But the crazy thing about that is that it's not crazy to say these things, all right? You look at the roster. You got one of the best front sevens in the National Football League with T.J. Watt, Alex Highsmith, Derrick Harmon, who looks unbelievable, Cam Heyward, who's still an all-pro caliber player, Keanu Benson, Patrick Queen, who's a former all-pro, Peyton Wilson, who looks like he could be a future all-pro. Then in the secondary, you got Joey Porter Jr., who looks phenomenal out there, Darius Slay, who just won a Super Bowl. You got Jalen Ramsey in the nickel spot, who's one of the best nickels in the game. Then you've got Deshaun Elliott, who's making plays all over the place as well. And then Juan Thornhill's had a hell of a camp. He's right. There's not a whole lot of holes on this Steelers defense, and they have the potential to be the best defense in the National Football League this year. Now, it's going to be tough to, get to the best defense of all time kind of moniker there. The 85 Bears, multiple Steelers defenses are in that conversation as well. But hey, man, if that ends up happening, we could be looking at Super Bowl here in Pittsburgh this year. So true or false? Let me know down there in the comments section. The Steelers have the best defense in the NFL this season. I think this is the case, but let me know what you guys think down there in the comments section. Type T if you think that statement is true, or type F if you think that statement is false. That'll be it for today's show here on Steelers Talk, guys. Thank you so much for joining me today. Tomorrow, we'll be putting out a video early on in the day to break down my players to watch for the Steelers preseason Week 1 game versus the Jacksonville Jaguars. And then, of course, we'll be going live tomorrow night, Saturday night, for the first ever preseason game for the Pittsburgh Steelers during the 2025 season. So make sure you guys click that subscribe button if you haven't already. Until next time, guys, here we go, Steelers.